All right, let's finish up this chapter. Not much left. So incomplete epithelium and underlying areolar connective tissue with our synovial membranes, they line our joint capsules and produce a synovial fluid. So this is zooming into, let's say this is your knee joint. There's your hyaline articular cartilage, that's the bone, your thigh bone, your shin bone, femur and tibia. And then here's the outside joint capsule, okay, connective tissue, dense connective tissue, but on the inner lining, that's the synovial membrane, an incomplete epithelium, mesothelium, and then an underlying connective tissue, and the epithelium produces the synovial fluid, which fills the synovial cavity, provides a nice lubricating fluid and some cushioning to help have nice healthy joints. Okay, connective tissue framework of the body. So connective tissue layers connect epithelia and bind them together to underlying deeper structures and provide connections to organs within the body cavities. Think of the peritoneum, which holds the visceral organs of the abdomen in place, or the pleurae, or the pericardium, that houses and holds the lungs and the heart. Excuse me. So a fascia is a layer or a sheet of connective tissue. So if we consider the thoracic body wall, you have your outer skin, cutaneous membrane, a thin underlying connective tissue, and then you have your superficial fascia. Notice it's yellowish because it has a fair amount of adipose fat tissue. Depending on how much weight we carry, this is either fairly thin or fairly thick, right? Storage, energy storage. It's called the superficial fascia. It's also called the hypodermis, meaning deep to the skin, below, hypo, below. So we'll see this in the next chapter. Superficial fascia is also called the hypodermis. Here we go. Superficial fascia, hypodermis. So it helps bind and hold the skin to the underlying tissue, the underlying musculature. And then the deep fascia is sheets of underlying connective tissue that bind and hold the muscular tissue in place, binding and holding muscles and surrounding them and tethering them together, binding them together. And then as we continue towards the internal cavity, in this case it looks like the thoracic cavity, there's the subserous fascia, which is between the serous membranes and the deep fascia. So we have a lot of connective tissue that kind of binds and holds our body tissues and organs in place. So the deep fascia, dense, regular connective tissue, binding deep organs, also surrounding the pericardium and periosteum, and also producing connective tissue sheaths that envelop our muscles. And again, we'll look at these layers of connective tissue when we do the skeletal and the muscular systems. And then again, the subserous fascia, loose connective tissue layer between the deep fascia here and the internal serous membranes, which are within the thoracic cavity or abdominal cavity, abdominal pelvic cavity. Here's a picture I found that shows excuse me, some of the deep fascia on a cadaver preparation. So the overlying skin and superficial fascia or hypodermis has been removed, and this is the deeper, a deep fascia that is overlying and enveloping the muscles. And this can be removed, and then you would find that there is still connective tissue sheaths that bind and hold and separate the muscles from each other, but envelop the muscles as kind of muscular units or packages. And that's it for this chapter.